Yeah? You ready? Sweet. Okay, let me grab this. All right. Thanks everyone for coming, and those of you who will be coming late. Today we're going to have a rearranged agenda. So first we're going to talk about the tool library and different projects. So basically, Kimberly told us at the meeting that, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Instead of just having it for one weekend, we get to have it for a whole month. So now we get to decide which streets we want to put the tool library at and the dumpster.
Yeah, the idea.
The whole month. Every Saturday. Oh, May. We remember.
Yeah, it was May.
We wanted May.
The gardening month.
Yes.
The idea is to hopefully make a bigger impact, like do a block one week, then do another block the next week.
So the dumpster can be moved.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we just need to figure out whose block and
Yes. Whoever would like to volunteer.
Is that every Saturday?
Yeah, for the month.
you can do it during the week too if you want.
Yeah.
Should we just do Saturdays, or should we do during
Well,
the
the dumpster will be there.
You could do it when you've got a volunteer that will take care of it.
Yeah.
Because Habitat could show up.
Yeah.
If you've got a volunteer that's in charge of it.
Yeah, we can show up anytime. It's just the neighbors. When do you want it?
Yes. So anyone here, does anyone want to have the tool library in front of your house?
You want it again?
On a particular, May has,
That's just part of the round, maybe. That's at the end.
let's see. So there's the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, and the 26th. Are Saturdays.
I don't think our location is first priority, but if there's a need, we definitely have space.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of extra space
Is
on
the
our
dumpster
corner.
gonna go on the?
I was gonna say, we're on the
street?
corner too.
Yes.
We wanna put it there.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, over on that, on the other side of the school, that'd be good. Yes. Do you have a particular weekend you would prefer? I think the 12th is Mother's Day, if you want to avoid that.
Mother's Day weekend is usually the biggest garden weekend. That's when,
Yeah,
that's when I always do it.
it's up to you.
I'm
Isn't that
really
the
okay
planning
with
schedule
whatever.
based on Mother's Day?
If I know when it is, then I can let
Yeah,
our
just
relief
to do
society
it, just to
know.
plan after
And-
Mother's Day.
Oh, after.
So I always plan on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Frost free.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any, I mean, we can annoy my neighbors and do it on the 12th
This year. Okay.
if that,
Got some
if nobody cares.
Moms.
And then, and we should get someone over by your guys' house. Or the other side of the neighborhood too. That would be 2.
So you want to do Terry on the 12th and Taylor's on the 19th? Is that what
No,
you're thinking?
or Carrie.
Carrie,
Just Carrie.
Okay, Gary, when are you doing it?
know anyone closer to where Martha is? That area?
On the 19th?
I don't know, I went over there. I guess
And
Troy
you can
Jensen's
change
over
it
there.
if you need to. I'll
200
just-
south, 900, 1000 west.
Yeah, I know where you live.
Uh-huh.
I was thinking, is Troy Jensen over there?
He's 2 blocks north of me.
Oh, okay. So
I was
he's
gonna
almost.
say, I think he's.
I guess the
Because where I live, it's mostly, it's rental housing except for the condos.
yeah, but the rentals might have junk that they want to get rid of.
Definitely.
Definitely.
There's summer porches. Well, let's go at midnight. They're out there porch boats. Who do I know over there? I know Ellie.
We should find someone on the east
Travis.
side that would
The
like
Travises.
the east side of the neighborhood that we could use. Maybe north of where Megan lives.
The east side.
Yeah.
What's the
Like
lady's
what
name that
east
I
of
can
you
never
guys?
think of her name?
Like, oh, like northeast?
She's,
Or at least east of you.
Just reached higher.
Okay. Yeah, like by the bishop. By Tomlinson's. I'm sure I could find someone.
Okay.
Have it out front.
I just want to make sure I have the dates right. The 5th, 12th, and 19th.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yes.
We switched the agenda around.
Don't
so you
worry
guys
about
are
it.
Yeah. You know where Bonnie Whitaker lives? She lives
good.
like
So yeah, I'm sure I can find
half a
someone.
block
Go ahead
from
and
the park
put,
on Vernon South. It's about 7 something.
ask Sarah for the last one.
south.
Because I'll have
Oh,
a,
yeah.
I'll get an address.
She'd probably
for
be
you, so.
willing to.
Do you want to do the 26th
north.
too?
Okay.
We
Then I'll
need to
just do
check
that.
with
Then
the
I'll just
people
make
that
sure
are
it's
in
reserved for you
Airbnbs
guys.
or home.
Yeah.
From 8 to
Oh,
noon
Oh,
on
yeah.
Saturday.
Would not want it.
Yeah.
A certain
I'll
week.
find it.
That's usually
Right,
good.
Okay.
Okay.
If she
I'll
had
put
to
your
rent it out,
neighbor
she might
down.
not want it.
So we'll ask her.
Our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kimberly, we don't have all the dates yet, so don't worry.
Okay.
We'll contact you with other addresses
Okay.
on
So
those
your
dates.
dates aren't confirmed to Saturdays.
Yeah. Saturdays are easier, right? It's more
So,
of a
yeah,
gardening
It's the
day.
only gardening day, sort of, so to speak, and
Right.
I think in this community, although plenty of people do it on Sundays, but I don't think we're going to do it.
No, I want you to have to work.
So you want me to block off the 5th, 12th, 19th, and 26th?
Yeah, probably
Okay,
just
do
easier
it.
for
Mhm.
people.
And we'll just get the addresses as it comes,
Yeah.
gets closer. Perfect, that's fine.
Okay. Heather, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, it's up to you if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I mean, it's just super informal, but so I'm part of the Provo Bike Committee, but I also
She lives in the
I'm
neighborhood.
coming more as a neighbor of Franklin or resident of Franklin. So I live on 500 South, kind of right across the street from Brereton's. And Megan Bowen, I don't know if anybody knows.
Mhm.
If people know her here, but she and I and my brother Aaron met with the engineering department about 500 South. We met, I want to say it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because we had hoped to do, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the pilot project that they did on 5th North,
Yeah.
where they painted a mural and they put in did they put in protected bike lanes? No, I don't remember. It's buffered
Yeah,
bike
buffer.
lanes. And they just created a pilot project from Freedom Boulevard to 500
900
West.
West.
So
Yeah, for that pilot project. And then they were repaving the road. Is that what you?
Mhm.
And so they instituted some of those things, but they wanted the whole neighborhood got involved to paint the mural and to create these different elements to try to get folks to sort of see what it could look like. And then they've incorporated some of that after they've repaved the road. So you've got those buffered bike lanes still. And what else do you have there? Did they do anything else on that? I don't think
I
so.
just
That was
repainted the
primarily.
crosswalk, but
Uh-huh.
Not sunflowers.
I know, so pretty, right?
Yeah.
So we were kind of hoping to do something similar on 500 South, but I first was curious, we kind of got engineering declined that idea, but we felt like we should keep talking about it and keep putting it forward and not giving up, because we feel like if the neighborhood is behind it, that maybe at some point it will come to fruition. So I guess, first of all, yeah, go ahead.
I think Heather, it might be helpful if you share maybe a few reasons why you think we need to address that street.
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
what I was gonna
I think we
do.
assume everybody understands, but
I was actually just gonna ask if folks use that road, if they live on that road, and what they see, if any problems are for that road. Does anyone?
I live on Fifth South.
It's way too fast. It's way too big. It's scary to
Super
cross.
wide.
The children are terrified to cross it because it's like a highway. There's massive trucks going down it all the time. It's just like it has village. It's a very industrial highway type of feel to it, and it's just
especially when the train
the
blocks
HOA took all the
tracks.
trees down that they put up, and so there's just not even any neighborhood feel to it at all. It kind of just shuts down any
Mm-hmm.
kind of
That's
nice,
true.
safe.
It's really hard to cross at Fifth South and
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah,
And you get a
Just
lot
to
of
go
big
over to
issue
startup
with that.
building.
Yeah, or just
I-
go to church. A lot of
If I
them go to
can
church.
avoid a
and-
car, I almost take out a pedestrian or a biker, and it's like at 7 a.m. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for Thursday food truck roundup, trying to
Yeah,
get
there's
down
lots of
there.
Traffic.
Or get to
Great.
Front Runner. I hate trying to cross Freedom to get to the Front Runner
Yeah.
station. There's no crosswalk.
So that was part of what, like, I live right on that corner, and that's one issue that we have, especially with small kids trying to cross Freedom Boulevard. In addition, I feel like there are a lot of cars that speed down that road because it is so wide, and it doesn't feel like a residential road, which it is. So we had hoped to try to like create this project which would narrow the road, which would be traffic, would calm traffic, and then also do crosswalks across Freedom Boulevard and also across, let's see, sorry, Fifth South
Here, I'll
on
be
that
that
other
way.
side.
Here's
Yeah.
Freedom, and here's
So-
Fifth South.
What kind of crosswalk are you thinking? Just painted or a light or?
Well, so that would be kind of up to probably engineering. But the feeling is without narrowing the street, a crosswalk isn't gonna do much in terms of safety.
Can you do
So you
bulb
have to
outs?
slow, yeah, we
bulb
would
outs would
love,
be great.
we would love that.
We tried to do bulb outs when they were putting it in the project. What's it called? I can't remember the name of the project.
Central Park.
Central Park, is that what it's called? Anyway,
Yes, we
but
did ask
engineering
for
shut us
that,
down
yes.
again. Like we
Yeah, they seem resistant to
I don't
that.
know why.
Why?
They just
Probably the cost.
they said it was because it'd be so expensive, but then when they put the pipe in, it would have been perfect time then, and
Well, the project tore out all the curb and gutter anyways, that's when it would have been,
that's when we wanted to do it, and they're like, no.
because it wasn't consistent with the rest of the street profile, that's why.
But you know,
So what, engineering wants everything, they want the whole street redesigned and done at once.
So
They can't handle incremental change.
no, they can't.
They don't live
It's a
there either.
problem.
So, you know, when you come and say, can you just fix this one corner? They look at the street like, no, that's not consistent with the whole street, I might throw a driver off or something. And so they might like
Might make
the
them
idea of
slow
bulb
down.
outs,
Yeah,
might
might make
recognize that's a need, but they're thinking, no, we gotta do that all at once and then it becomes $1 million project. Or more.
Yeah. So what they are doing, we had requested that they study the street so they see like how many pedestrians are crossing Fifth South and Freedom, and to see how fast cars are, how many and how fast cars are going down the road. They've started that, and they have part of the data, but they don't have all of it. I'm gonna request that they provide that to us, although I'm gonna suggest that they also do it like in the summer.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with all of the things that happen at the startup building, especially the food truck roundup and other things that are happening, and weddings, there's a lot of weddings in
Yeah.
the startup building,
And White Shanty.
and White Shanty.
And just on Sundays to church on the summer, you get tons of people walking.
Yeah.
Like there's a steady stream three times a day.
So
Well, actually
I'm
6.
hoping that they will do I mean, I don't know if they'll do another one in the summertime because I think they'll get different results, but I just hope it's something we can keep talking about. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
When you ask them, can you make sure they try and monitor it when there's a train blocking the track?
Yes.
'Cause I think the
Because that's
speeds-
the big.
I think the speeds
yeah.
are actually faster in that situation.
Because people
So
are
we're speeding
trying
to
to speed
get
down
around
to
it.
University
Get around.
or
I'm
vice
guilty.
versa.
Because there's no opposing traffic.
They're trying to get to the
Right,
train usually,
right.
and so they're
Yes.
speeding around. I drive like a crazy person.
Did engineering start their viaduct study? You know,
What's crazy, I think,
I
is
don't
when
know
the
they
kids
started
climb
that.
through the train so they can get to school.
I know.
That is crazy. I actually did that once.
You see adults doing that too.
Yeah.
I did it and I had to jump off the train because it started moving and I broke my shoe. I was going to release site activity actually.
Oh my.
And it started to rain on me, that's why I did it. I'm like sitting there, I'm standing there and it starts to rain, I'm like, well, and the train stopped. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it, and then it started moving.
Do you know Jan Gale?
Yeah.
Worked at Penny's for years, for 40 years. She used to regularly climb through the train.
Well,
Yeah,
do what you gotta do.
it's just so scary. I watched little kids go through.
Yeah,
Oh my
that
gosh,
is
don't
really
move.
scary, for sure. It needs to be addressed. The pedestrian bridge needs to go.
Yeah.
You did a crossing guard down by the train.
Through the train.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's actually some videos of school kids doing it.
Yeah, that's what he was just saying.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Well, I've talked to Wayne about it. This was years ago when I watched these kids go through those things. I had to have Bob come and get me so that I could get home.
Yeah.
And I called Wayne and he just said, you know what? There's not a thing we can do about it.
It's true.
Because it's the train and
It's
it's
the train and they,
Union Pacific.
yeah, it's Union.
They were here before we were.
Yeah.
We just start throwing rocks at him or something.
I'll say you'd be arrested and be in
No,
jail.
I'm gonna-
Your
I'll
children
just go
can come
ahead.
and visit you.
Who's gonna call the cops? I'll be throwing a rock at their big old train.
Some ladies don't want to ride. They won't even be able to know there's somewhere
I know.
around the corner.
I'll just go spray paint it while it's parked. You.
So Heather, do you have like a date you're gonna request the next traffic study?
No, I just thought in the summertime. But there's still, as far as I know, I don't know if they're still collecting the data or they just don't have it all available. But when my brother had asked for it, they said they only had partial data at that point.
Okay.
So I was gonna email them and check in with them and let them know, if I have your agreement, let them know that the neighborhood is still interested in pursuing some kind of pilot project, something to sort of narrow the street and make it safer for pedestrians, bikers, and, people in their cars too. So there's been a lot, we've had multiple accidents, like
There's
at
that one
Fifth, South,
intersection
and Freedom
that's
Boulevard.
a yield
Freedom's
sign.
scary to cross.
I can't remember what.
It needs to have no parking.
Yeah, it's really.
Do you
Or at
guys-
least not within
anybody know
20 feet
which-
of the intersections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
I'll allow it.
intersection has the yield sign?
Gotta just
I've
keep
been
it.
hit almost several
it's
times.
perfect.
Well, there's
If
a
they
yield
could
sign on
do a
4th.
roundabout.
Is it 4th
Yes, I
West?
believe so.
that has the yield sign? I hate that.
It's either, I don't know.
We're just really
Fifth.
close.
Yeah, 4th West and 5th South.
Uh-huh.
They're the one that has the yield sign. I don't know if I'm just
Yeah,
the
it doesn't
target.
have anything, does it? Fifth South, does it have any yields or stops going
No, well,
from
not on Fifth South,
500 to?
but the
No,
cross
it's
streets, I think is what she's
yeah.
talking
So
about.
it's
Either 4th
this
or
way
3rd
is
West.
the yield.
But there's none, so it's just like a straight
Yeah.
bullet to the,
Yeah.
through this massive street until Freedom, where.
Yeah, how wide is
Stop.
the street?
It's almost 58, 59 feet of asphalt.
Okay, yeah.
And a typical suburban, brand new suburban road, which in my mind are still already too wide, is 38 feet. So
Yeah,
you're 21
almost
feet
double. It's
beyond,
huge.
which is a
It's
two-car
ridiculous.
garage,
Yeah.
beyond a brand new, and that's a higher volume suburban. The low volume suburban streets can be as low as 32 feet. So I mean, this is 27 feet bigger than some suburban roads, and of course
How wide is
sometimes like
4th
even.
South?
What?
How wide is 4th South?
It's not quite that wide. It's in the 40 range because it has much wider planter strips,
Oh, okay.
park strips.
They're
So
park
those are
strips.
about 8 or 9 feet in width or more, maybe up to 10. So that eats up a lot of that asphalt width. The reason why Fifth South is so large is historically it was a railroad spur. And it had multiple spurs coming off of it. So there was actually railroad tracks going down the middle of it and had spurs going off some of these industrial. So they, 100 years ago, yeah, it was sort of quasi-industrial,
When there was
but
a train in the middle.
the neighborhoods evolved and changed and become more residential over time rather than industrial, and so.
Okay, is there anything industrial from 500 to Freedom anymore? Because White Shanty's taken away. So
I
industrial.
mean, you got
Just-
Brereton, you got
Brereton.
White Shanty, and then,
No, White Shanty's not
Eh,
industrial.
well, I know, but it's a high-impact commercial at
These-
It's just
times.
6 South
And
this
then
morning.
there's
Yeah, don't these guys do the molding?
There's that
Yeah, you
brown
got the-
building
The
too.
one on the corner, on
Yeah.
Fifth.
They used to do hitches,
Yeah, but
and
they-
it's a new
they-
business now.
Their front door is on the Fifth. On
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
on
have
Fifth
an,
West.
they don't
not
have an
Fifth South.
entrance
No.
on 5th
Yeah.
South.
But they did used to have
They
a
do have
spur.
a backyard. They have a backyard fence.
But that goes
don't
to
they?
4th
No.
No.
This is actually separate use from this one. isn't it?
Okay, so yeah, they don't. It's
Well,
all
and
off
I
of
think
the
with the
class.
growth on the other side too of
With the apartments.
Fifth South, the apartments, the taco shop, you know, there's things that are happening there. There's art space there. I just feel like that's gonna probably, I would guess, continue to be developed and get busier. And so again, that crossing
It's true.
is tricky.
That taco shop's really good.
You have the neighborhood
So good.
support.
Okay, great. I'll let engineering know.
Yes.
See what happens. And I'll
Especially if
just
they'll
keep it posted.
repave between 5th West and 6th West, that would be wonderful, because it's like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thank you.
Now to the fun stuff, right?
Was this the fun stuff?
Yeah. Your turn. Tag, you're it.
I apologize because I think there's some flubbing on our end with Robert being ill today and everything. So I'll try and fill in. You were talking about different types of housing for infill and other development through there that might be
So
appropriate.
this is the
acceptable in
picture they
neighborhood.
showed us at Provology. Was this
Okay.
missing middle housing?
No, not this one.
Yeah, some of these involve, courts. The city's looked at that and I don't know there's a perfect example in this area, but where you have small courts that go in and I'm sorry, that's a kind of a straight in shot. I'm not sure if the other one's showing overhead. But the city looked at doing one of those in the southwest area of town, was it about a year and a half ago? And the neighborhood kind of shot it down because the home values actually were higher than the neighborhood.
Why would they not like that?
I felt, a couple of the neighbors felt that would take away from, I guess, their enjoyability, I'm not
That
sure.
would have, over a period of time, maybe increased the value of their property.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
usually happens.
And I think that's what they were afraid of.
And anything different scary.
Yeah.
So wait, sorry, where is this?
This isn't around here.
I know, but the
Oh, the
idea,
one they talked
the
about.
idea for it?
Well,
Powerline Park.
yeah, the city looked at doing it right in this area, if you know where that, here's the mall.
It's actually
I
not
Here's
see.
far.
I-15.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Powerline Park, yeah. now
Yeah, these
I know.
homes would have been in between
I love that.
the homes to the south and then the Osprey ones that are going in now.
Oh, gotcha.
The Ospreys, I think, what are they, like 3?
Well, and I misspoke, Heather, this actual
Three
parcel's
something.
not a park, it's
It's
just,
390.
it's a vacant
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
It just has a
They
power
were
transformer
290
on it.
and then.
Yeah, but there's a playground on it.
North of that,
Okay,
yeah, it's a different section of that.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah, that's one that kind of came to the city. They didn't really plan the park there, but the homes were there for a year.
Yeah.
And UPNL went and ripped them out because they upgraded their power line and some other things. But anyway, is looking at a lot of these areas, and you've got a couple in your neighborhood, which were attempts for some of those infills. This is the one I think everybody thinks of for the most part. Where you've got an alley drive that kind of goes in and accesses those places. And Catherine, I know I'm gonna miss it, but there's the other one that's over in here somewhere, so little,
Right there,
this one?
to the,
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Now, this is really, only 2 homes back here. It looks like it's 4, but somewhat the same concept, that if you had, say, 4 to 6 homes back in there, could you do them as an infill? There's one place in Dixon that's looking at that now where you basically have these central block areas that are somewhat vacant in most of the cases. And the concept is doing something that still gives a single family detached home and a yard and everything else, and just where you've got these extra deep lots that really aren't used other than maybe for old car storage or something.
So you use the infill
Yeah.
lots, because that's what they, CDC has done that a lot in Salt Lake.
Yeah, and these are a lot more open going in, because it's like a small street or road. It's not like a little alley going back to one
Yeah,
home.
like that driveway.
And we've even looked at a couple of instances, again, this one is across the border, but these instances where you've got a straight shot across the whole neighborhood, and these are rare. But, could you put an alley or some kind of a street in here, maybe a narrower, what's our narrowest, 24 pavement or something? have that where you could then have some units, you know, fronting on that interior part. And so, you know, that's kind of the basis. You look for those situations, say, are there styles or homes that could fit into those that would really complement the neighborhood rather than, you know, create a place that gets abandoned. Then, of course, this gets into kind of stacked units that aren't, or moderate in density. They're not, you know, super high density. You know, the argument we've got is, are those conducive to family life and, you know, with your kids in the yards and things.
You know, Brian, if I could show you a spot though, you could zoom into 3rd South and 5th West. Or we have this, see all those tires right there?
Yeah.
See that lot right there? You know, this is a higher volume road. And not necessarily single family neighborhood, but that's an infill lot in my mind. And you know, will we ever get a really strong commercial use there? I don't know. It hasn't done it for 80 years.
We don't love the tires. They're in our backyard.
But would something like this work on a street like 5th West? And that's the question.
Brownstones.
In most cases, you've got to create the financial ability to take out what's there and replace it with something that, you know, people can't do it and lose money unless you got some subsidy from someplace. Some cities get into that. I don't think Provo's in a position to do that, though. It's only.
That's what I was gonna. How is it funded generally, or is it?
Some cities have some matching funds or other things they do through, you know, larger redevelopment area where they're trying to redo a neighborhood. Yeah.
Well, the biggest obstacle is will you as a neighborhood allow ask your city council for zoning that will allow private sector to come in and do this?
Right.
Well,
Right
then
now
you
the
have to
zoning
get-
says no.
You have to speak with each property owner too and get them to buy on. Because if one property owner doesn't buy on and it's in the middle, that's a
I
problem.
can't see any of those neighbors saying, no, don't get rid of that.
Take the tires.
I think
tire.
Martha meant people that own property that have to.
Well, when the private sector's involved, they're approaching those owners and saying, we'd like
Yeah,
to
you
buy
have to
you.
approach those
We
owners.
buy part of your lot.
And,
Like, they might want to say,
And
hey,
if they all
Janet,
have
we
to
have
buy
10 feet
in.
of your backyard. So she'd have to buy into it if they
Yeah.
needed that space.
Well, what you look
But that's a
at,
lot of space. I don't think they'd actually
Yeah.
need to
well,
talk
and
to
if you
community.
plan it, you've got to make each door pay or at least break even, you know,
I
see-
do
if the
think
city's
that-
doing it.
and if you can do it by site, you know, kind of like you're saying, qualifiers that do that, could you get something this size, you know, that could be a condo, it doesn't have to be apartments or
Well,
anything
that
else.
exact building.
That looks like the one on Center Street, and
Oh,
it's about,
First
next-
East,
yeah.
yeah, with
If you
the,
go
It
north,
looks like that
where
building.
Best Motel is too, that lot.
oh, which one are you thinking of?
Back where you, well, she's talking.
Oh, that's
Oh,
what
okay.
yeah.
If you go to Best
Oh,
Motel,
I
the
mean
lot
the,
next to it.
yeah, the one
Yeah.
right in here.
Yeah.
That would be
These
great
two.
for mixed use brownstones or duplex, nice.
See, the great thing
Yeah.
about that too is you're concentrating toward a corner, which creates a community identity
Exactly.
through that area, and this is, you know, like your little social area.
That whole area.
But you're not
is just
overwhelming
prime.
it, you're not lining the street with them, you're not, every lot becomes that. You know, you're really more selective and kind of spread out. And what I used to refer to, and I've got to get off it maybe, that we call ghettoizing area. Because it's all of one type, not necessarily by who lives there.
Yeah.
And so that,
Cookie cutter type.
yeah, and so, you know, provides variety, provides other needs of housing. And then you get some that are actually stacked units in duplexes that look like the single family and, you know, fit in there.
Or they could look like a polygamous home, you know?
Yeah.
Keep it period.
But the other one the city's considering and looking at is detached accessory dwellings, ADUs. That's what they are, accessory dwelling units. They don't have to be connected to a home or under a home. You could, for deep lots, you could put another one in there. We don't
Like a
mean
guest
necessarily
house
pulling
type of thing
tiny.
that they can
Like a
rent.
tiny house?
Well, not quite that. It's something more substantial, maybe. The first experiment we're looking at is actually what are called the cottage homes, and some people refer to them as the Fonzie units because they're units above a garage.
Oh.
You know, something like that. And so, you know, it provides the housing that, especially for elderly people, you know, that we do allow now, but it has to be attached to the home. You could have it detached. Or even situations that, you know, any family could have somebody rent and have supplemental income that way, you know, which sometimes causes, you know, good reinvestment in the community. What you don't want to do is, and we've tried to get away from, is doing a quick add-on to the existing homes that gives them more units but doesn't really add anything to the neighborhood. And, you know, we've got the 20,000 square foot minimum that they put in for the higher density areas, but not for the whole city, but even for those areas in the ITOD area, you know, where you've got at least enough area to start with. But, you know, those are some of the ideas of how can you create viable infill that revitalize a neighborhood, help out, you know, maybe provide enough rooftops eventually to get some commercial interest or something.
I like the multi-units as long as like the units have three bedrooms, where people can actually become established renters. I mean, they don't have to be homeowners to be a part of the neighborhood. They can just be established renters and have room to kind of live their life at least a decade or so in that unit.
Now the one image that was there provides ideas of different scales of housing. And again, that's kind of a transitional transect, whatever you want to call that one, where it goes from the higher downtown down to the edges. This neighborhood is going to have some hard edges, meaning that it's going to drop from one density down to another. I don't think we're looking to go rip out all of these homes in here so to provide that transition. I think it's one that, you know, what are designs that are compatible. It may even go beyond the individual lots. It may be how the city designs across the street, does some others that provide that transition through the streetscapes or some other method. But it gives you a good idea of different types of homes that if you take some of these and then mix them into certain lots that, you know, meet certain conditions, they have tires stored on them. Now, we'd have to come up with something a little more than that, but you know, just glancing, you could just from the air photos are great, and just figure out, are there viable lots here? Are there some that get to be tear down homes? There's not really a true value to the home that couldn't be better realized through a new building. And, you know, maybe some other units or something like that to give them that incentive. You know, it's expensive to rip down a home and try and replace it, because there are some places, though, because of recent increases in prices, where lots are more valuable than the homes now. And the homes have almost a marginal value that take down what they can sell the lot for. And it's, in some neighborhoods, there's enough of a gap occurring, and principally the ones that I've seen recently are up in Edgemont and some of that area, where the home's an old 50s home, that Rambler, you know, California style, that has no basement, has anything else, and they're really fairly cheaply built in a sense.
Brian, can I throw out a commentary? So one of the reasons, this is a discussion with the council right now, and you know, a couple of years ago, saying that Provo was going to have an affordability crisis on their hand was people look at you and think you're crazy. Yeah, it's only been a few years, and we really do have an affordable housing crisis. Housing values are going a lot higher than incomes are increasing and what people can afford, and so that's become a discussion. Now, certainly, we don't necessarily want as a neighborhood just to do anything. But the whole point of that missing middle graphic is, right now our zoning, and I think Provo zoning, this comes from a national design firm, that graphic, if you go up, Brian.
Top of your page.
Yeah, that one. But they're trying to make a point that most cities have this problem where we zone a lot of single family and we zone a lot of high density. And what have we been seeing built in Provo? A lot of single family on the west side and a lot of high density downtown. We actually are doing a little bit better. We're seeing, John Dester has a townhome project down there in southwest Franklin called Triterra. But that's, other than those townhomes, that's about it for the missing middle. You know, most cities do not accommodate these type of housing types in their zoning ordinance. That's why they're called missing middle, because zoning for the last 30, 40 years has slowly squeezed out these housing options. And these housing options often are the ones that are more affordable. And so that's why it's a discussion with the city council right now, and I think that's why it's...
Yeah, and what we're emphasizing too is the types of homes people can live in during different stages in their life. You know, newlywed, young children, something like that, you a little more flexibility, I think, than a lot of people when they start having their kids. They want more of their own private playground, yard and things, but then as you get older again and have to maintain it, sometimes you think, gee, wouldn't it be nice to have it taken care of and I can just take off and do what I want on the weekends. And so that's why, you know, we talk about that type of mix, and you know, for the most part, seniors are considered low, moderate income. You know, they qualify for that, and young families. I'm thinking pretty well in most cases around here. You know, we're a pretty poor city actually, and a lot of that's the young families we have. And again, the affordability of housing to put those people in your city is very hard.
These townhouses, they kind of look like the ones in the Riverwoods, actually.
Yeah. And also Daybreak, or
Daybreak.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
You got it.
You said
I was dealing with Suncrest earlier today and making sure which one I'm with. Okay.
Yeah.
What about any talk about tiny homes or anything like that?
Yeah. Has anybody jumped on that one yet? I think we've shied away from it because they're.
You know, I think that's more of a fad. I think there's a certain group of people that just glom onto that because it fits their style. We had a young man in our buildings who just thought it was the best thing, and he and his wife built this, I guess, cute little thing. He only does cute, and they stuffed their 3 children into it and moved down to California, and they're parking in a parking lot, I understand, which is just a street away from the beach.
So.
But I'm thinking those children are growing up, and this is not going to last very long. You know?
No, because we have so many brand new married couples in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
That would be perfect
That
for
would
them.
be good.
You know, as soon as they graduate and get a job and move on, another
Take care.
brand new married couple can move right in.
Well, there's the KOA ground down in Springville.
Yeah.
And it had 2 little homes in it. And they were just, you know, I guess hooked up.
Probably park models,
No,
Yeah.
they're
not park models.
not park models. No, no. They had their own cabins. And
There are some just really difficult, I mean, that could be an hour and a half discussion on itself, the tiny homes.
yeah.
But just thinking about connecting to sewer and water.
Yeah, then your utilities.
You know, a lot of, you've watched these they're fun shows, I've watched plenty. But, you know, a lot of these are designed to live off the grid. And when you're in a city, you don't necessarily want people living off the grid because that's a health issue.
My friend has one in Portland. I'm gonna have to ask him how they connected there.
How fun was it for
In
the?
a couple of different places.
6 months later.
It's actually
Great for
beautiful,
like a
and there are a
weekend
couple
getaway.
who are
Yeah.
not planning to
And
have
transition.
children, so it works for them, and they travel a lot. So it works for
That
certain
works for
people.
certain.
And Portland is a very, I
So
mean,
we- we had a
it's
cabin.
different.
In Dallas.
I'm sure they've embraced that. So
I'm not
I'm
saying I don't
curious
think
to
there's
know about
I
the
think there could
sewer.
be a place in our community for that, but it's just a huge discussion and a lot
Oh,
of things
yeah.
to think through.
Yeah.
Now, you know, the other one that's up there,
Yeah, definitely.
you do have an example in your neighborhood. It's kind of that live work. I mean, it's on the edge, but Carson's
Carson's
Corner.
Corner.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
Does anyone actually live
I
there?
heard the taco shop
Or
was
is it
pretty good
all,
actually.
no, I know
It is
people
good.
live there, but is it all Dead Mountain students that kind of come and go, or is there actual like?
Well, the thing with these
People
units are
that
actually duplexes, you know,
Yeah.
the owner has to occupy the, well, in
Oh,
theory.
okay.
But you don't
In
have.
theory, yeah, I
in theory.
I
You know,
just
where
know
they
that
live
Deb
in one and rent the other,
had
you know,
bought
in an
some
up and down
properties.
situation.
Yeah.
But then you got this Riverwoods, you know, put those in, the live work units. Hasn't been as successful as I think everybody hoped, but again, it was kind of on the edge, and you hit certain economic situations that happen, and you luck out sometimes you don't. But that could happen eventually. They could become more popular as, you know, enough things happen.
One of them that was very, is 575 South Freedom. That,
It's probably
Yeah.
rented up
Oh.
overnight. And
the
with
startup
BYU's
apartments. maybe?
The startup,
The
yeah.
startup, oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
that
There's a
was-
wait list for those, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's get into the other side of that.
Parking?
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, because,
That a
They
lot.
they
'Cause-
did exactly the way it was zoned.
Yeah.
yeah.
They shoehorned
Yeah,
it.
they did.
Pre-zoned and
The people who live there hate the parking. They love living
But they
there.
still live in
except for the
Well,
parking.
and the hope is that someday they'll think, gee, I could get by with one car.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. I mean, that's
I
the
mean, it's-
ideal is that you're
Portland changed that
creating,
way.
Parking for one car.
you're
per unit,
you're
though.
close to public transportation, you're creating a better system in your city so
They have
that
to
people
pay a lot.
And
can.
BRT is complete if that helps at all.
It could. I know another one that helped that no one to touch right now in Utah is you tax the heck out of the second car. You know,
Yeah.
we had that back east. We live back east. You have another car, great, but here's what you're going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then the city can use it to fund garages and whatever else. But in some areas of town, and you know, Matt is the one dealing with parking all over the city, but you know, like, could you create areas with just the cost of parking structure is so great, but you know, when you've got places that obviously have no garages, like the fourplex in this picture, carriage home, yeah, you could, you know, this is maybe the main home and the right side's the people who live upstairs, so you know, you can make things fit and look right, but
Yeah.
it takes up a lot of area for parking, and how do you do it so that this doesn't overwhelm the neighborhood? I think
That's true.
to do that, you've got to be prepared for more people parking on the streets, you know? That's kind of where they have, but the wide streets and the parkings don't slow down, but narrow streets with parking, you could kind of slow down traffic.
Well, we
too.
gave up some of our side yard for a parking spot for our carriage home apartment, I guess you'd call it. If you scroll on ours,
Going too
Janet
high.
knows.
No,
No.
you missed, did I,
Fourth south, fourthwest.
oh, I went way too far that way, okay.
Okay,
Ah, there,
here she is. So go to the top of Leah right there. So there's my garage up the very top, and then right next to it is a little pad, a cement pad going all the way up to the stairs. So our renters park all the way up there. They don't park on the street.
They park on the pan.
They were up?
On the pan. There,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
and Matt has a basketball hoop right here.
None of the roaches do.
Oh, okay.
Janet does.
There used to be a fence there.
Yeah, no,
It was up again.
we pulled the fence off the sidewalk a little bit so we could, that both cars can see when we're backing up.
And before they lived there, the other people had a fence.
Yeah,
So that's why we have it there.
but yeah, it's worked really well. It's,
You know, I guess the city's trying to look at a serious combination of things. Another one would be, like on some of these lots, are there narrower widths we would allow, where it doesn't necessarily change the area, but allows a little more variety in the lot widths. And you get that naturally through these areas.
yeah.
And we're trying to say, geez, that's so bad for everywhere, you know, you get a little more variety that way. But sometimes you end up, you know, with the type of home you've got, it's just a huge side yard that most of the time isn't really used.
Yeah, that sidewalk yard is never used, ever.
I don't know, but it's looking at all those, and those are the kind of things we'd love to hear, suggestions and come up with ideas and thoughts
Yeah.
and identify places where we could get some of these initial projects. And sometimes that's what it takes, and that's what the city tried on that one on the west side, is to get an initial project so people could see it, people could get a feel for it, and say, is that acceptable to, you know, allow in other neighborhoods.
That actually would be a good spot for it.
And you were talking about cost, that one actually the city would have, in a way, subsidized because we own the ground, you know, so we could sell the ground cheaper or give it away.
So does the city own the tire place? Oh, okay, I thought that's.
It was for
Is that
sale.
only, because from
It
the
was for sale over the
picture,
back.
it just looks
Which one?
like there's two,
The tire.
this one
Oh.
lot and then this little lot. Is that it?
Two different people.
Or
No,
is
that's
that
right,
part
she's
of it.
right.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
It's all together, I believe.
yep, it is.
So owned by the same,
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, but see, the question is when if Yeah, the Franklin Master Plan that was adopted a few years ago actually talks about redeveloping that corner
Yeah,
in a similar multi-story, it could be similar to the fourplex or the multiplex malls, maybe even this live work type example. That
Yeah.
was sort of the vision, maybe the townhouse vision, not that necessarily that style, but now the plan's there, but when, what's the next step? And the next step is
Finding a developer.
if a developer did come forward, it needs to be rezoned to allow it. How does the neighborhood react to that? And how do they talk to the city council about that? That's one issue. Terry, does the neighborhood want to be more proactive about it and go to the city and say, we need some help redeveloping this? Can you devote some man hours to attracting a developer that might be interested in this? That might be another step.
Or even the other lot north of it.
Would the city council rezone it without a developer wanting it to be rezoned?
If the neighborhood came forward and said, this is the zoning we want for this because we want to try and help and encourage a certain type of development.
Developers
If
do
the
not like
council-
to go
agree on
through
it,
If the
the council
council-
would probably
If
consider it.
the neighborhood was fairly unified, they'd consider it, even if the property owner didn't really like it, because they have their vested rights.
But
and
would
they
they
can do what
be
they're doing today.
grandfathered until they sold?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't have to change anything.
yeah, and some cities have done it like through just the zone itself, design standards, but they've also done an overlay. There's a design standard overlay. It's almost like if you do these things, you can do these uses. And it doesn't blanket the uses into the underlying area. You've seen some of those, haven't you? I mean, that's, the overlay zones are always interesting because it's like a,
Well, and
Special
another
zoning.
strategy would be to go and say, we'd like to create a redevelopment project area and allow some of the federal monies we receive to be programmed here to help a developer get this done.
and, block grant money, several of those can be used in these areas because you're basically doing things to promote low moderate income housing and jobs or other things. There's a combination of things you could use. Usually that's broken down, but boy, if you could get a program for like a 3-year project or whatever and do some things, it starts adding up after a while.
Can you show who owns that property between Ace Rents, right there?
This one here?
I think
This
it's
one.
down,
Oh,
Ace is
That
below.
one.
No, you're right, there, that lot. Who owns that? Is there anything that
Make
can,
their house.
it's just anything that can.
That's a tow yard, I think. Is it a tow
Yeah,
yard?
that's a tow yard.
No, that's behind
The Chinese place.
Chinese place.
To the left.
I
Yeah,
know
right
it's
there where all the cars are going
No,
up
you're
and
going-
down.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking
All
to see
those
if
cars.
they're, yeah, they all
It's
seem to
packed
be owned by
solid with
different
cars
names.
now.
Yeah.
Whether they're all the different people, I don't know, but
It's just
We really need to do something about this. This
it's
is just,
absurd.
and you
Yeah.
know what we need to
and
do?
it keeps investment from going into your community.
Yes, we need to get on the train and do just a quick ride through the Franklin neighborhood and see what it looks like from the train. Nobody's gonna wanna move in there. The place looks like hell half the
Yeah,
time.
so if you
It
got a
really
good
is a
face.
mess.
I'm sorry.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
going on light rail, like through historic Sandy area, where they fixed up a little park along the trail,
Yeah.
and fixed up some buildings. It gives a little bit better look than just the back of a.
Yeah,
of a-
gives
we've
a lot
got
better
cars
image.
practically
Yeah,
lining
it does.
all of our train ride in Provo.
Yeah, junk cars.
Junky cars.
Yeah, we do not have a,
Are those cleaned up now? The ones right there on the,
I have
That's an actual car dealership.
yeah, but that street,
The
cars?
last time I looked about 2 months ago, consciously looked, it was cleaned up.
that was
I'm not sure if it,
so.
I have got parking. I used some influence in parking first one.
well,
Good.
if you had
But I'm not sure if it's returned to that
I do on
situation.
that lot,
And
that lot is
the
awful.
economic
The
redevelopment,
Habitat interns suggested we make this a park, the one that all around Union Pacific,
yeah,
except that it's
It's
Union
Union
Pacific
Pacific, yeah.
Well,
property.
And that was discussed.
That's the
years
problem.
ago.
and without
Really
offending
touched.
anyone, I'm not trying to do that, but there's discussion, what if this whole thing, this area here
The
were a park?
doghouses?
But the
Except
problem
for White
is
Shanty, that's White Shanty.
some of the concern was what happens to parks like this right against the edge of a transient area. How do you say that right?
Yeah.
A
Industrial?
No, it's
transit
transient.
hub.
Is that the
Mazer Park,
Mazer Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
With
that,
the mural.
And it's fine, but
No, I've
there are
seen
people
plenty
that
of
don't
homeless
go
dudes
there
sleeping there
apparently
all day.
because people start hanging out there.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it's not quite Pioneer Park yet, but, you know,
You mean
it's,
Salt Lake Park, Pioneer Park?
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, not our Pioneer Park.
I'm like,
our Pioneer Park isn't much better.
It's better than
it
Salt
used to
Lake
be.
Park.
Oh, it's a lot better than it
And so, but parks are a great thing that,
Yeah.
you know, that's part of it too. If you could get something and everybody, like on a unit, instead of having to do their own little amenity, if they did in lieu of money that goes to a community. I'm sorry, ran out of voice there. Community amenity, you know, that creates a park. You got some of those north up in North Park, you know, a couple through the city. Where's?
we have
So
one
we're
that
okay now.
adjoins or kind of butts up, it's down on the ground and the freeway takes off around it.
Oh,
You know, we've got that, and those properties are already belonging to Provo City.
yeah.
And it would be nice to get some sort of, we talk about a dog park. Talk about dog park and a running track.
Well, you got
around
one
it.
there, but of course it's private.
No, right along, no, it's right along.
It's south of
Yeah,
Center Street
this
as you
one
come
here.
off the freeway.
Come off the, yeah, all that green property.
Was that the old county, what was it way back when? It was something way back when. I can't remember.
There were private homes in there, way back
Well,
when.
the city purchased all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
That's near where
okay,
you
I
are,
was thinking of a
right?
different area, because
You're
there
in
was
it.
one that had some, and it wasn't county, it was something else, with bigger buildings, that wasn't it though,
Where
okay.
the jump place is.
Yeah.
yeah, where the gym.
And that's where the community
That'd be a good place to have
garden
a
is,
park, next to the jump place.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, you're
Dog
lucky enough to
park.
have one, but in a way,
Drop your
that
kids off
functions
the
as
jump
kind of a
place, go to the
similar,
dog park.
city park. I mean, a broader area than just your neighborhood.
I don't know what park you know.
I know, parks are expensive,
And it's a
but,
busy
so you gotta
street,
think ways to do
and
that.
it's kind of-
And you know, but everybody who uses the dog park down in Bicentennial Park says there is a great need for another dog
Oh,
park.
Yeah.
I think we're north of Provo.
And see, here's the tricky part, and that's what Matt mentioned is, there's a lot of things you wanna do for the neighborhood and build it up, but then you start pricing everybody out of their
Everyone.
neighborhood.
Because the more you build it, then the more you tax it.
Yeah, you could get a home in Sugar House 20 years ago, pretty nice, you know, start moving in, but that's gone.
Your children couldn't buy a house with you anymore, or next to you.
And that's why, you know, you'd hope that there might be things with departments or other things that kind of help subsidize somebody there. But keeping someone from buying it as a pure investment that they're just renting out to other families. Sometimes that's very
Yeah.
useful because without somebody doing that, you wouldn't have those units, I mean, in
They
reality.
wouldn't be available, they
Yeah.
would just be,
But at the same time, you're trying to get some families that don't turn over quite as quickly in the neighborhood. so.
homeownership is really ideal.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brian, for doing this for us.
Sorry
We appreciate it.
to not have something better prepared, but
Great. No,
Very
this is great.
interesting. Thank you.
Now we want you to come back with, in, you know, partnership, what the city's willing to put forward.
They'll
Well,
put forth what
I think
put
we have
forward.
ideas, but convincing people that, you know, spend the money.
You know, I know
The
where
majors have to do
you've
work.
had chairs
Oh, yes.
assigned to, vice chairs assigned to different things, and, you
Yes.
know, well, you know, there's some great thoughts tonight, like, hey, Fifth South needs attention, Third South and Fifth West tire place needs attention. There's other lots that might need attention. It may be helpful if this group came together and said, which one we really want to put all our energy into for the next 2 years? And if somebody would be willing to take a volunteer side, I can't, I'm on the wrong side of things.
And I'm too close to it.
And Sarah's too close to it. So, you know, but if that person was willing to say, yeah, I'm gonna make, you know, Heather's sort of doing that. She's becoming an agent of change on Fifth South. And, but if somebody wanted to take one of these other projects, I mean, because really it would take about 2 years to really make momentum, and a lot of meetings, a lot of coordination, and the city just doesn't have the bandwidth to do it for us. Somebody needs to step in sort of lead, and I'm not saying I have to do it all alone. Like, I know on the Fifth South thing, Heather's been involved, but also a couple other neighbors have expressed interest, you know, so get them together. And
Have you noticed a change on Fifth South yet? Not Fifth South, Fifth West. I mean, since
The
the
bike
connections hit to the freeway.
The bike lanes?
or just
Oh,
because
that's
it's
the
like
connection that goes straight
connector.
up? Well, I
Are
sure
more
like it.
people
I like it because no
trying
one's noticed it yet.
to- Oh,
I don't
It's like
know that
super
it's caught on
empty.
a
I'm like,
lot.
yeah,
Well,
I'm
you know,
appreciating it.
One of the studies being done, the engineering plan to viaduct, another one crossing that was originally at Second West. And now, Fifth West is a possible consideration too.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, wait,
That's terrible.
it's not good. Fifth
So-
West to be a on-ramp.
No, on ramp,
Fifth-
No,
another,
crossover, so it'd become more of a road. And
A bigger road, yeah.
Yeah, so
so you
it's
know the
just,
viaduct they have on University,
Yes.
engineering would like to put one on Fifth West. And that would destroy that area of the neighborhood.
Yeah, the big huge bridge.
and that's what's hard because we've kind of fought a viaduct on Second West too. We think that kind of destroys the neighborhood, the look and the
It
feel of it.
really destroys the
It
neighborhood.
does.
There is a pedestrian overpass that we've got a Tiger grant for, which we may or may not execute, but it's,
Execute that.
the only problem is any overage, the city has to pay it, so we're kind of looking at the contract. But that would go from the platform up front, well, where the platform is, it crosses over and outside, you have to go back in. But at that location back over across the street, or across the tracks, it doesn't go across the street, which is, supposedly we could add it later, but it's kind of like, are there other places? I don't know.
Definitely don't like the
It
viaduct.
has to lead to something.
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Over Fifth West? The viaduct would be
Literally off.
railroad tracks.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Oh, gosh.
We'll see you in a month.
It'd be like the University
And
Hill?
it will be back at Franklin Elementary School. We'll be back there.
Yeah, we'll be back at, we'll be back at.
So I came at 7, I could have been here.
Thanks, Heather.